Heating and cooling quote. It takes less than 5 minutes and gives you options instantly. No calls, no waiting, and transparent pricing. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Join Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan and Samuel Adams at Mile High Station on Monday, September 29th from 4 to 6:15 p.m. for the Fan Football pregame show. Get your head in the game with orange and blue face painting and ice cold Oktoberfest. See you there.
Thinking about buying a home in Colorado? You're not the only one, and now might be your best shot. We're officially in a buyer's market, which means you've got the upper hand. More homes are on the market, competition is down, and serious deals are out there just waiting to be found. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to upgrade or downsize, now's the time to get pre-approved. And American Financing can make that happen in 24 hours or less. And here's the kicker. When you work with both American Financing and their partner American Home Agents, you can receive a credit on closing costs of up to 1% or a max of $10,000 on your home loan. If you've been sitting on the sidelines, it's time to step in, and American Financing is the place to start. Don't let the 20% down myth stop you. You could buy a home with as little as 3% down, and with down payment assistance programs available, getting into a home might be easier than you think. Pick up the phone, call them at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Football is here, and Fitness Gallery's fall football sale is your playbook for a winning home gym. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit any of our 7 stores from Denver to Fort Collins and score big before the sale ends.
Do you know what's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide? If you guessed Discover, you guessed right, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver.
You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
And with that, we welcome you into Denver Sports Tonight. I am Marcello Romano. Riding shotgun with me tonight is the Mez, Dante Gomez. So he'll also be making sure this thing kind of goes forward. You got to produce it. I can't do that. So he can do that and help me out with that part of it. We'll spend a lot of time, especially this first segment, talking about your Denver Broncos and where they sit as they will welcome in the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football this upcoming Monday. Dante, let me get your take on it. This has kind of gone. Is Broncos country turning into a frustrated fan base enough to where we literally hear the question today? Could it be possible that our new savior and Bo Nix could be sent to the bench at some point?
Yeah, I mean, people are asking. I don't think we're there yet, but he's not looking as sharp as we would have liked. He's not picking up where he left off last season.
No, not at all. I mean, I wouldn't try and say that, but I would also say I don't think he's been quite as bad as most people are. I think week 1 was terrible. I think that's probably as bad as he's looked up, through maybe the first 3-4 weeks of last year. These little shots, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I have my orange-colored glasses on, but it's like I don't think – there's a couple things where I watched those plays the other day, and I get – he's the quarterback, but I think there was some breakdown. He had to get the ball out early. I think that's why he put a lot of air under a couple of them. I think he threw it before he wanted to. I think overall, a lot of people are trying to place blame on this team and why they're not 3-0, which they should be, very easily could be 3-0. They led the games in Indy and in L.A. up until the game was over for both of those. So had an opportunity to win both games, should be 3-0. Overall, Dante, the biggest frustration for me would be we heard all offseason about how good this team was and could be and how they have to get out to a quick start, and they find themselves right now at 1-2. And if you you mess around and drop that game to the Bengals on Monday night, and then you got to go to Philly the following week, I mean, I said it last week, but I didn't think it was going to happen. There's a legitimate chance you could be 1-4.
Yeah, I think with Philly looming in week 5, I think Monday night's a must-win game for the Broncos. I don't think you can afford to fall to 1-3 and then heading to Philly, who Philly's got a tough matchup this week with Tampa too. So, there's a chance they drop one and are looking for a bounce-back game themselves in week 5. So I would say Monday's a must-win game. You saw how well the Vikings played against Cincinnati.
I don't think that helps the Broncos, to be honest with you. I think the Bengals, the Broncos should win this game. But for them to get kind of beat down the way they did in Minnesota, I think that kind of retools their focus and discipline preparing for the Broncos this week. I still think the Broncos win the game, but you mess around and they haven't looked good. Nobody thought Daniel Jones was going to do what he did against the Broncos and this vaunted defense. And I'm not saying Jake Browning's even at Daniel Jones' level, but a couple of years ago, he got a lot of opportunity, was pretty good with it. Hasn't been all that great so far in his opportunities this year. Broncos have to take advantage of that.
Yeah, no, they need to. And you're right, Browning did not look sharp last week against the Vikings, but he was very capable 2023. I want to say he went 4-3 as the starter that year. Zach added some context, I want to say, because I brought that up yesterday. And I want to say the 4 wins, none of them were versus a starting quarterback. So,
okay.
If you're following that trend, Bo Nix is the starting quarterback. The Broncos should win that game as well. I was a fan of Browning at Washington. I thought he was really good at Washington. I mean, he took that team to the playoffs, so he definitely is capable if he has the right pieces around him. And, I mean, it helps that you have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, who he's throwing the ball to. But it doesn't matter who the other team is at this point. The Broncos need to win on Monday. They need to get back to 500 or they're just going to dig themselves into too deep of a hole. And I said it before, there's not really a lot of wiggle room. After you already used all the wiggle room in weeks 2 and 3, losing to the Colts and the Chargers the way you did, you got to take care of business here.
Listen, I think I asked you this last Thursday, and I'll ask you again. Did you have them winning the game in L.A.? I think you had them winning in Indy, right?
I did originally, yes.
So did that change your season prediction total, whatever it may have been?
So I just kind of flipped it. I originally had them losing in L.A., and then I picked them to win in L.A. after the Colts loss. I thought they were going to bounce back and show hey, we're still a good football team. That was more of a fluke ending versus us just being not playing up to our abilities. So I had flip-flopped it after the Colts loss that I thought they were going to win in L.A.
The big story for me is that I think overall this whole football team could be playing better. There's areas of concern as far as penalties were a big issue last week. Starting the game with 3 3-and-outs is not ideal at all. And I think one of them, did it get called back? Or no, it was on the flip side. I think the Broncos lined up offsides against the Chargers, which allowed them to extend a drive. Little things like that where, and then maybe this is what Sean Payton was talking about in the preseason when he was talking about, 14 to 17 things that didn't even have anything to do with football, about procedurally being different. If you want to put yourself or throw your hat in the championship contender ring, you have to be better at these things. Early in this season, it looks like the team is a younger team making silly mistakes where, and I'll go back to this, defensively, I know how much we've talked about how good they could be. But going back to the end of November last year, they haven't looked all that great. They had an opportunity to stop Justin Herbert and the Chargers the other day, couldn't do it. And it looked like they went out and just executed exactly what they wanted to do, where the Broncos, when they had the opportunity offensively, it still looked like they were just calling plays that they weren't sure of. It wasn't like, here's what we do in our 2-minute. It was clunky.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't think anyone's confusing what the Broncos have looked like as a rhythmic team at this point. They look clunky. They just look out of sorts. And you brought up the penalties, and they look like a young team. The guys that are getting these penalties aren't even the young guys. It's Hufanga has 3. It's Troutman has 3. PS2 has 2. Benito has 2. And then a handful of other veteran guy, Cooper, Bowles, Wattenberg, Powers, JFM, these are not rookies. They're not early on in their career. These are guys that the Broncos should be able to rely on to go out there and play smart football. And the undisciplined part of it is disappointing. The clunkiness of the offense is disappointing. But, with all that being said, the rest of the season is still in front of them. It's not over. The AFC West might be tough to come back and win at this point, but Just because it's looked clunky so far doesn't mean it's going to continue to look clunky.
Where are you at with the concern-o-meter on Bo Nix? Do you have that, like in all the movies where they have the panic button, but they have that piece of plastic that goes over it? Have you even lifted that up or not even close?
The key's still in the pocket because you got to
Gotcha.
put the key in first to
Yeah,
unlock
it's
it.
DEFCON whatever.
Exactly. The key's still in the pocket, but I checked to see where the key is.
Okay. I think that's interesting because a lot of people, we're looking for reasons why they're not at 3-0. And I think, obviously, Bo Nix would even tell you he could play better. We'll hear some of what he had to say about it, too. But if I look nationally, like I checked out the quarterback power rankings today on NFL.com, where if you haven't seen it, have you seen it yet or no?
The power rankings?
For
I have
just
not.
quarterbacks, just quarterback power rankings.
I have not, no.
So NFL.com, I think they do it weekly. They do it in different tiers, tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. Where would you think Bo Nix would be after this, kind of not consistent start?
So you said it's tiers 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah.
He can't be in 1 or 2. I would say 3 or 4.
Oh, you nailed it. He's in 3. I think they have him as like the 15th ranked quarterback still.
But I still think that has to do with more of a projection than what we've seen. If you're just reacting to the first 3 games, I think it'd be hard to put him in tier 3.
Really? I'll bring up the list, and I'll kind of tell you some of the people that accompany him in that tier 3. I think he's still in that mark. I don't think, and I get it. I think you're probably right. A lot of it is what they think he's going to do this season, and we saw it last year. He didn't start off great. You would think that he'd come out and hopefully kind of take the momentum from last year. Like Sean Payton said after the season ended this past year was, you don't just take that momentum. You got to clear the board and start all over. But for a second-year quarterback, we were concerned about a sophomore slump. Is this truly it? I do think it's kind of comical that those discussions are even being had right now. Because it's not like they're getting blown out and they're completely inept, right? They should have won both of those games. And other than the 3 straight 3-and-outs to start the game in LA, they're competitive where it's different. It's not like Russell Wilson got benched a couple days ago, and you could see why. His sequence down in the red zone, he looked like a high school guy trying to play in the pros. It was pathetic. Bo's just missing barely. And a lot of things can help change that as far as protection could help change it. I think everything else is dialed up like it should be. He's just that tick off. Like he was with Troy Franklin all year last year. It just seems like something's just a tad off. They just got to get it fixed.
Yeah, and you're right. It's not the worst football when you see Bo Nix out there. It's just a little bit off. But in a sport like the NFL, it's famous for being called it's a game of inches. You can't afford to be a couple inches off on some of these throws. And
yep.
I know Bo spoke to it today. We can play that audio if you want here, but about just missing on some of these throws, but they add up. And to me, he's really struggling on any ball that's further than 5 yards. Let's call it any intermediate to deep ball. The connection's just not been there, and you only get so much leeway of like, yep, he's barely missing. If you're a 3-point shooter and you're hitting, it's in and out every time, you're still missing. It doesn't matter how close of a miss it is. A miss is a miss.
I'll give you a couple of these players that are in that tier 3 of quarterbacks with him, but let's go back to what you were talking about on Bo, wishing if he had done anything differently last weekend.
I'm going to miss several throws in the future and probably going to miss a few deep ones. We just got to keep going.
I don't like that. I don't like the sound of it. I think the frustration's starting to sit in, which I think a lot of that, and I've been making this point since the comments were made about, I think he's a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the league, and I think I've coached 6 teams that could have won a Super Bowl. This would be my 7th. That rise in expectation, Dante, Nick Saban said it on game day last week. Some players can deal with that type of expectation being put upon them. Some people handle it well. It actually makes them better, and other players don't. So this is one of those things. You're rolling the dice on knowing or thinking you know everything about a player and putting that kind of expectation on him. Do you think that's starting to bother Bo, the conversation of how good he could have been, should be this year, and then the slow start?
It doesn't seem like it. I think you would hear a different tone in his voice. He still seems pretty level-headed when answering that question. Doesn't seem like he's pressing or so I liked his tone in the answer, and I agree with him. You got to keep shooting. It's the old basketball term, but it's shoot or shoot. And the only way you truly lose is when you stop shooting. It's the famous quote. I forgot who it was. A Miami Heat player. But it's I'd rather go 0 for 30 than 0 for 9.
Yeah, because then that fear has kind of stepped into it as well.
Exactly. So I don't think or at least he's not showing it. Maybe on the inside he's a little afraid of failure or afraid to miss some of these passes, but at least outwardly he's projecting confidence, which I can still appreciate.
When I say frustration, I mean more like he's pissed. Like that was probably eating at him the whole flight home, and he's had to see and hear about it all week, and then it got brought up again where it's just he knows how close he was. They had him on the sidelines in the fourth quarter when he was, and I don't know who did it, but I mean I'm a professional lip reader, so I don't need help from people, but I think he said, I had so many chances today. And that frustration leads into him being angry about it, but that's kind of concerning to me too, because you can't have that where you're kind of more pushing and pressing the issue to make some of these plays. And if you take that into Monday night, this is where you got to trust in the guy that Bo Nix is, and I think a lot of people still do, as far as being like a franchise quarterback. And yeah, is it the start he wanted? Probably not. I think everyone can agree upon that, but I think he'll be all right. And I don't think it's as doom and gloom as a lot of people have said. I think the overall football team needs to be a hell of a lot better to get where they want to go. And it may start with him because he plays the most important position in all of professional sports. But defensively, I've been underwhelmed. You know what? The big concern I had going into the season was probably the offensive line and the running game. That's been a pleasant surprise. We've seen some big runs out of the Broncos this season so far.
Yeah, I've thought Dobbins looked great so far. I don't know what more you could ask for from Dobbins in these first 3 games. When you say you're underwhelmed by the Broncos defense, is that just because you had such a high bar on them? Like, is it their job to go out and be responsible for these wins? Isn't at some point it is Bo Nix, sophomore season. He finished up great. Everyone was, praising him after he had the second best rookie season of all time, or, whatever the compliments were there. And it can't be. At some point, Bo Nix needs to take the step of, hey, we're going to win or lose because of me. The Buffalo Bills are that way. It's like, yeah, their defense is great, and they keep them in a lot of games, but a lot of it comes down to Josh Allen. If Josh Allen isn't going to be Superman, the Bills aren't going to go very far. In the Ravens' case, if Lamar Jackson is going to be Superman, the Ravens aren't going to go very far. So I don't know for how long is Bo going to get the treatment of, the defense needs to kind of save him.
Let me fire it back with another question. What was the strong suit of this team going into this season?
It was the defense.
So that's where I'm leading to the being underwhelmed, because other than a rookie quarterback on a bad football team, Daniel Jones, you didn't expect to see that happen in Indy. I mean, you're talking about 473 yards of total offense. They didn't punt the football, and I know you probably should have won that game too. And then you had an opportunity this past week where Broncos offensively were clunky when it mattered the most. They could have gone down and extended the lead. They didn't. It ended up getting tied, but you had the opportunity with your strongest portion of your team out on the field to stop the Chargers and Justin Herbert, and you didn't do it. You didn't do it. So it's like underwhelming, because I think when we talked about this defense going into it, how good they were last year, accompany that with the fact of the additions of Greenlaw, I know, who hasn't played and is on IR, but Hufanga, and then just having another year with these players and having the reigning defensive player of the year, I don't know. I just thought I was going to see a little bit more dominance. Because when we talk about being dominant here, we've seen it. We've seen it offensively with 55 touchdowns and with Payton Manning. We've seen it defensively with the no-fly zone. When you watch the highlights of that football team, if you just throw the highlights of that 2015 team that was one of the best defenses in history, which this Broncos defense was talked about or asked about being prior to the season, saying, could that be a legitimate, goal for this team? And I know everyone said the right things. Yeah, we could be there, but we got to go out and do it. They're not doing it so far. It's not that kind of dominance.
No, absolutely not. And I think being underwhelmed by them is fair to this point, but I'm going to turn it back to the offense here. Is there anything you could point to on the offense that's a weaker link than Bo Nix so far? I think the run game's been better than we thought. I think the offensive line has been fine. I think Troy Franklin as wide receiver 2 has been great. Maybe you could throw tight end, Evan Ingram's inability to be out there last week.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like you got to point to Bo Nix at some point as far as the offensive struggles. I don't think it's Sutton's fault. I don't think it's Franklin's fault, like I said. I don't think it's Dobbins' fault.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to take a lion's share of the blame always just because of the position he plays. You could say even just the scheme maybe in some of the – like, how do you not advance the football in 9 plays? I mean, you couldn't get one first down in those first 3 drives in L.A. So, I mean, yeah, you could say that's all on Bo Nix, or you could also say, did Sean Payton plan those first 12 to 15 plays? Were those schemed? And that's like playing Tecmo Bowl. You remember that? Did you play Tecmo Bowl ever?
I did not, but I'm familiar with the game.
I'll tell you, okay? So there's only
right?
Yeah, there's only a handful of plays you can pick. And you pick it, and your opponent can pick whatever play they think you're going to run. If they pick the one that you picked, there's no chance, unless you have Bo Jackson. You can't get out of it. It's like a blitz like an all-out blitz. You get tackled in the backfield every time. That's like going like Jim Harbaugh and his defensive staff knew exactly what you were going to do, or you couldn't even get anything going. That's what the frustration part is like, how is this happening when we kept hearing about, we got to have a fast start, we got to be better early? It hasn't been. And you had the opportunities. You should be 3-0. And I know people hate the should be conversation, but you should be 3-0. You had a crazy call in Indianapolis. And I think the discussions, if they were 3-0 and Bo Nix had the same stats, what would we be saying?
Good job by the Broncos. Good job by Bo Nix.
Like, let's even say they won last week and he still missed those plays. Like, they were able to stop them. They got the ball back and they were able to kick a field goal. Nobody would be putting that much of an emphasis on it. People would be talking more about, like, the offensive scheme was great. It was right there. They just got to fix it a little bit. On the flip side, we're talking about people actually mentioning the words being benched because of his play and not playing up to what we think. Here's Bo Nix on still having some confidence.
Well, I love it. That's, the name of the game. You just keep making the next play. You keep throwing it. You don't want to be, afraid of failure. You don't want to be afraid of missing. You just go out there and shoot the shot, and, we'll hit them.
That I like. And then this is the question I asked you earlier, but I didn't hear Bo's answer on this, on if all the preseason talk put a little extra pressure on him.
I don't think so. I think, it's better than him talking about how, tough of a team, tough of a season it's going to be because we don't have it. So I'd rather, have the confidence going in and, have the full season to play and just get to go out there and play it out than a coach that doesn't really have confidence in us.
I don't know what else he's going to say, though, when asked that question. I don't think you couldn't really be like, yeah, thanks, coach. You really put me behind the 8 ball here. I think he's saying all the right things. I'm just starting to pick up on a frustration from him of having to answer these questions.
No, I think that's fair. And real quick, want to give a shout out on the text line here. The 4038. Wait, Jim Harbaugh knew what the other team was running?
Yes.
Great text there.
That's fair. That's fair. You can get involved in the conversation, too, on the RamosLaw.com text line. That's 303-713-1043. Where are you at with the concern-o-meter? Are you ready to push the panic button? Because Dante isn't, but he knows where the key is. I'm not even close, to be honest with you.
No, well, I had a follow-up question for you. At what point in the season, if we continue to see this kind of play from Nix, would you be ready to start questioning him?
Oh, wow. My goodness. I don't think it'll ever happen because I think Sean is going to do everything in his power to protect this player. That's his boy, man. It's like his kid. But if they fell to, well, they would be, if they lost on Monday, and then the likelihood of going into Philadelphia and winning that game. Now, they didn't look all that great against LA the other day until late in the second half. But likelihood of winning that game, not high. And then it's New York, right, in London. which I think that game's tougher than probably you initially thought. And then who knows what the hell the Giants are going to be. If you get to that like 1-5, 2-5 mark, then and the play continues to be like this, I think just from the locker room's sake, because I think they have enough elsewhere that you'd have to start thinking about it. In my opinion, you?
No, I think that's about right. I would say, yeah, if they drop to Cincinnati, Philly, and then either of the Jets or Giants games, so pretty similar to what you're saying, either 1-5, 2-5 there, I think that's when you got to start questioning of, is Bo Nix going to be the starter at the beginning of 2026?
Oh, man, that's crazy to think.
Oh, it's crazy to think, but you can't go 1-5 with this kind of team and those kind of expectations.
I completely agree with you. I mean, at some point or another, you got to have, if you're going to be leading the football team, you got to have better play out of that position. I don't think it's as bad as people have kind of painted, but it's not what we expected either. When you change, I think it changes once the comments were made about expectations surrounding this football team. I don't know if it's any different if you could go back, if Sean Payton would not do it. I doubt that. I think he's super confident in what he thinks and says, so I don't think that would have changed. I just don't know that it was ever really warranted to do it. There was no one was asking that question of him.
And that's fair, and Sean said an even higher bar, but I think around town, the bar was still making the playoffs, being contention for the AFC West,
yes.
And the way they've played hasn't looked like a playoff team, hasn't looked like a team that can win the AFC West. So I get Sean had other comments, but there was still, a certain level of expectation within Denver and Broncos country that is still not being met.
That is our Broncos discussion to start off the hour. We may get back into it a little bit, but when we come back, Dante, I want to change gears a little bit. I heard what you guys are talking about at the end of the drive and the prospects of college football in this state right now between CU and CSU. I want to go over what the guys said because I don't think they got what your prediction was, who's going to win more games this year, whether it's CU or CSU. And then we'll give you thoughts on that. And then to end out the show today, we might hit a little round ball too. That's all coming up next.
Do the Broncos have a problem that goes beyond the playbook?
Your football team is undisciplined. Figure it out. Last year, you told the Carolina Panthers, play better, right? When you wanted to rub their nose in it. Hey, Sean, coach better.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Catch a ride with Evie and Otto. Catch a ride.
I'm Evie.
And I'm Otto.
And you're invited to Go Evie Go at Foundation Kia, the premier electric vehicle sales event.
Enjoy free food, giveaways, and really sweet deals on all new EVs.
Yep, before federal rebates expire September 30th.
Foundation Kia is here to stay, but these deals are going away.
Your EV journey starts here. Join us September 25th through 27th for the biggest event of the year. Visit foundationkia.com for more info, and we'll see you in Wheat Ridge. Catch a ride.
Whether it's kickoff, halftime, or the final drive, fuel your football season at Dickey's Barbecue Pits. Order the Two Can Dine for $29.99 deal. Two meat plates stacked with pit smoke flavor. Or go for the new Triple Play Combo. A classic sandwich, savory side, and a big yellow cup for just $12.99. No matter who you're rooting for, great barbecue is always a win. Dickey's Barbecue Pit, legit. Texas barbecue.
The Diamond Expo at Williams Jewelers.
Everything diamond. Diamond earrings, rings, bracelets, and necklaces at our best prices of the year. It's the Diamond Expo.
Save hundreds, even thousands, but hurry. It all ends Saturday at 5 p.m.
Mike Evans here for Copperhead Plumbing. Your home doesn't have to flood before you know there's a problem. With the Mow and Flow Smart Water Shutoff System, you can monitor your home's water usage in real time right from your phone. You'll get notified the moment a leak starts. Trust Copperhead Plumbing for professional installation. Ask about installing a Mow and Flow system today.
Copperhead Plumbing, built to last. Call us once, you'll forget the past.
Copperhead Plumbing. They plumb different. They plumb custom.
The right financial strategies can make a huge difference, especially if you're nearing retirement. Adam Mueller talks retirement strategies with Mile High Money. Saturday mornings at 8 on Denver Sports 104.3, The Fan.
Heads up, pros. Now's your chance to unlock deeper savings. The Home Depot's new Pro Extra Preferred pricing can help you save thousands on the products your business uses the most. But the current benefit ends November 15th. Don't miss out. Registration for the new program is free and easy. Just bring your tax ID or business or contractor's license to the Pro Desk. Register now to lock in the best wholesale prices before it's too late.
After I came home from Iraq, I could still hear the booms. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
DAV helps veterans get the benefits they've earned.
Thanks to DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten, classics are remixed, bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
If you've been hurt in a car crash or on the job, don't just hope for help, demand results. Postman Law delivers fast, easy, and effective representation fighting to get you more. Call 844-POSTMAN for a free case evaluation. It's free to get started. You pay nothing unless we win for you. Others promise. Postman delivers. Call 844-POSTMAN today. That's 844-POSTMAN.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Trade Gen Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
Back in Denver Sports Tonight, Marcelo Romano, Dante Gomez, and yourselves on the RamosLaw.com text line at 303-713-1043. We have a couple to pay off there because I think they're kind of interesting. You get both sides of it immediately. You get the people that would question Bo and his ability. We also get the big ones on like, hey, commit to the guy, give him an opportunity. So Dante, was there one or two that you liked, and then I'll grab one too, and then we'll move on to this CU-CSU discussion.
Yeah, I like the one here from 3824. So what would it take for Sean Payton not to be the head coach of the Denver Broncos next year? Will it be Bo or will it be Sean if things keep looking this way? So I like the point of, because I brought up the fact that, like, is Bo going to be the starting quarterback in 2026 if this kind of play continues? And it's a good point. Is Sean on the hot seat at some point for all this?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think they would have to really fall off. I mean, we're talking true doom and gloom type of scenario for that to be the case. There's another one here from the 576, or Brian. Sean Payton got Drew Brees after he played 4 seasons in San Diego. Bo Nix has played only 1 season. He finished as the top 5 in numerous rookie quarterback stats of all time. I want 3 years of 100% commitment to Bo. You don't get that anymore.
I kind of like the idea of giving him 3 full years, though. I think teams pull the plug too quickly. I mean, if you were on that track, maybe teams are going to pull the plug on a Josh Allen or pull the plug on, you name it. Jared Goff kind of got the plug pulled on him, and now he's doing great in Detroit.
Yeah, I think some of those, though, you can tell. Like, I think, like Trey Lance, I think they knew. That ain't it, man. It's not going to work. Paxton Lynch, who Brian referenced in his text here, some of it's just bad decisions on draft day, and I think if you're around football as much as they are, and Sean Payton said as much last year before the draft, that they're better at it than most, he would know by now. So I'll ride with both of them. I think they turn it around. I told you before, I'm not ready to push the panic button. I'm not even exposing it yet. I don't remember where I put the panic key right now, Dante. I know you said it might be in your pocket, could be in that kitchen drawer. I don't know where mine is. I know I have it somewhere, but I'm not even looking for it yet. So we move along in the discussion. At the end of the drive, Zach By posed the question of who's going to win more football games this year. CU's going to welcome in BYU in an Alamo Bowl rematch in which they got thoroughly dominated, just physically all over the place. I think BYU was trying to make a point in that game. We'll see. I know Prime said it's not like a revenge type of deal, but if anyone was on that team or on that field that day, you probably want a little piece of BYU that you didn't expect that you were going to get in that bowl game. And then CSU, out of all the, jeez Louise, the quarterback discussions around this state lately, CU go from Caden Salter, then they had the second game against Delaware, I believe, where all three played, and then you went to Staub, and then back to Caden Salter, who looked good last week. CSU has been, you have a guy like Braden Fowler-Nicolosi who, I asked the question to the guys when they were walking out, was like, how do you get worse throughout your tenure of your college career? And it's sad to say because I thought they were going to have a pretty decent year under his leadership at the quarterback position. He's been benched. Jackson Brousseau is now going to come in. They lost the game last week. We can discuss the decision on whether or not to go for two. I think in the pros you go for two. In college it's so different. Just tie the damn game.
Especially when you're at home.
Yes.
If you're at home, I get it if you're on the road and you're the underdog for sure, but if you're at home, I think you play for overtime at that point.
I don't know what he was doing in that decision. I get it sometimes. Like, let's just go win it right now. If it's a pro game, I look at it differently because overtime rules are different in the pro game versus college game. But college, when each team gets the ball to 25 to go, like, let's extend this thing as much as we can. And at that point, I think the momentum was surely on CSU's side. Either way, Nicolosi struggles again after the struggles against UNC a couple weeks prior. He's benched and Brousseau goes. Now we have the idea of like who's going to win more football games this fall. Dante, I think Phil said 6 for CU and 4 for CSU. I think Zach had them both at 4. Where were you?
I had Phil's number flipped. I had CU at 4 and I had CSU at 6.
So you think the quarterback changeup in CSU is going to make a big difference?
I do. I also don't think they're coming from as deep of a hole as CU is. I think CU has a lot of ground to make up comparatively to their conference. They're not necessarily better than many of the teams they're going to face here. Maybe West Virginia. Other than that, it's going to take them outplaying their opponent, by a decent amount for them to win. So I have them winning the West Virginia game, and then I have them either knocking off BYU this weekend or TCU the following weekend. And then for CSU, I think they beat San Diego State. I watched them play. San Diego State did not impress me too much. The old CU offensive coordinator is their coach over there, Sean Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii, I've seen Hawaii play. Not too impressed with them as well. And then I think New Mexico and Fresno, very winnable games, and Air Force to wrap it up there. So I think there's a lot more on the table for CSU, and just, you can calculate a little bit of level of opponent into this conversation as well. The Big 12, CU's not in the middle of the Big 12. I think CSU is more in the middle of the Mountain West.
I think you might be right, but just from an opponent standpoint, like with the Big 12, you would say that the opponents. BYU is now ranked. I think they're the 25th ranked team in the nation. I don't think they've played all that many good opponents early.
They played nobody.
You got TCU, which will be interesting from if you remember a few years back when they went in to TCU, and that was a phenomenal game to watch as far as excitement and entertainment was concerned. Iowa State seems to be legit. That's going to be, you're going to have your hands full there. Arizona's 3-0, right?
They are. They've
3-0.
looked way better than people were expecting.
Utah was looking good until they weren't against Texas Tech. I agree with you, man. Like after last week, and I liked some of the flashes that you saw out of Caden Salter in that offense. One of the big problems, I think, was it didn't matter who they were playing. Defensively, they're allowing people to move the football. Even if you go back to that Delaware game, Delaware racked up some yardage offensively. And I know it's not a quality opponent, but they were allowing that to happen. So they got to sure things up defensively. From the opponent standpoint alone, I think I'll agree with you. I think CU maybe 4 or 5, possibly 5. Maybe they get one of those games that you didn't expect. And then CSU, dude, I know, and Zach said it before he left, that he thinks at some point or another Fowler Nicolosi is going to have another opportunity because it may give you a spark for a short amount of time. I just was expecting a lot more out of Jay Norvell and this team this season. So even if they get to 6, it's a disappointing 6.
Yeah, I think you had much higher hopes. 8-4, 9-3
yes.
kind of is what you were eyeing going into the year.
Yeah, man, and like even after that opening game against Washington, because they were in that game into the third quarter, you're like, wow, they're going to be pretty dang good this season. It has not looked that way at all. And even if you go back to the UNC game, statistically, the stat sheet tells you that CSU dominated that game. They didn't. They were lucky to win it. They helped and gave opportunities when didn't need to be. And it's just kind of sad to see a guy that it looks like he was committed to the university all along, stick around as long as he did, even when he was being offered money to leave, right? And now he's finding himself on the bench, going to be holding the clipboard. I agree with you, though. I think CSU can get to that mark. It'll just be super disappointing. I think for what we were thinking going into it, CU this season, we're like, hell, I told you they could win 4 or they could be, approaching 10. I didn't know what they were going to be. Now it looks like it's probably going to be more of the former on that. And then CSU, I just think higher expectations. It's sad when you have that because then you're basically starting all over after this season. So,
well, speaking of starting all over, do you think Norvell's on the hot seat at all up in Fort Collins?
I would think so. I mean, like, listen, coming as an alum, I think there's been opportunities for him to prove that, and it's kind of been like this ever since Sonny left. We haven't had a coach that can get them over the top for like competing for conference championships or being ranked. When Sonny was there, when I was there, they were ranked every year. They were going to bowls, no question, every year. 9, 10 games. Bad years were like 7, 8. It's completely different now. And with the way the landscape of college football has changed, it makes it that much more difficult for a team like CSU to truly compete. So, yeah, I would say if he continues on this route, I would think he would be in trouble as well. So with that, we will wrap up our college football discussion. I want to get some round ball. It's almost time. It'll be October next week, and that means that NBA basketball is right around the corner. Dante and I discuss that next.
To help the Broncos turn things around, does Sean Payton need to simplify things on offense?
Hey, we're trying all this new stuff on offense. How'd that work out? You're 1-2. Hey, we're mixing in a bunch of personnel packages. How'd that work out? It's not working. So if you can simplify things, help out Bo, run the ball just a little bit more, get something from RJ Harvey. You're going to need more contributions from the players and the talent that you've assembled this offseason.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
I just saw 2 houses for sale. Same neighborhood, almost identical, but one had an Orchard sign and it sold for way more. So I asked my friends at Orchard, why? The first house used a traditional agent. After weeks of price drops and frustration, they settled for less than they'd hoped for. The second homeowner chose Orchard and got more. Their local Orchard agent didn't just list a home, they marketed it. They knew exactly which upgrades would attract serious buyers and brought in a pro to handle everything. And even more, with Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program, the homeowner moved into their new home before their old one even hit the market. They skipped all the hassles and showings. Never settle for less. Get more with Orchard, the smarter, faster, hassle-free way to buy your new home, even before your old home sells. Start with Orchard's free home valuation at Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com. Orchard.com.
More than a few of our patients have talked to me about their first time, but it's not the first time you're probably thinking about. It's the first time that erectile dysfunction ruined the moment. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're over 50, it's likely you've had that first time yourself. But the good news is that if you're like most men, that first time can be the last time that ED impacts your sex life. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men using protocols with success rates well over 90%. And those treatments have, in most cases, made sex great again for both them and their partners. You could even find that you're performing like you haven't in years. So if ED has been affecting your intimacy, it's time to make the last time that happens the last time that happens. For just $99, you'll receive blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com. And get ready for the workday.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, I know you didn't plan to hear from me this early, but I'm tired of lugging this bowl full of jelly around. That's why me and Mrs. Claus are with Soda Weight Loss now. I'm losing 6 pounds a week. My knees are loving my results, and I'm keeping up with the elves again. And the wife, she's all about this healthier me. Keeps telling me I'm slaying.
Ready to slay all those holiday pictures? Get photo ready and join Soda Weight Loss right now. When you join, your partner joins for free.
With all the weight I've been losing with Soda Weight Loss, they're gonna have to make a whole new Santa suit for the big ride.
Real support and help from nutritionists who are just a call or text away. Take advantage of Soda Weight Loss's partner program. Visit sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Stay up to date on the Broncos and the latest news from around the league with our NFL insider James Palmer, exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Mondays on The Rundown with Richie Carney, Tuesday afternoons on The Drive, and Friday mornings on Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, all season long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
Oh, good jam, Dante. I was at Red Rocks last night to see Jordan Davis and Mitchell Tenpenny. and Mackenzie Carpenter. You know who they pulled out on stage to sing? This is not Jordan Davis's song, but they brought somebody out to sing this song.
I'm going to assume it wasn't Darius Rucker, because I think he would have
No, it wasn't Darius Rucker, but he's super well known here. He's a big time country music fan, and I've seen him come out on stage before. He's not a singer.
Oh, okay.
Not a singer.
I'm going to go athlete then?
Yes, athlete.
Go current or former?
Former.
Peyton Manning.
There you go.
Actually?
Yes, it was
Look
him.
Look at that. I've always been a good guesser.
Yeah, so he came out saying this with Jordan Davis. I think it was probably his best musical performance I've seen. I've seen him come out on stage a few times and sing, and I think last night was probably, if I had to rank it, number 1 in my book. So way to go, Pate. I can call him that because he's like, him and Eli, that's what we call him. We are finishing it up, wrapping up this edition of Denver Sports Tonight here on 104.3 The Fan. Marcello Romano, Dante Gomez, yourself on the RamosLaw.com text line, 303-713-1043. Dante, as the calendar turns next week, I can't believe it's going to be October next week. Next week when we're doing the show, it'll be the second day of October, which means normally we don't really care because I don't think most people think the NBA starts until Christmas. I think most people could get on board with that if they did move back the season to start then and go a little bit later into summer. I think a lot of people would enjoy that. They don't. The reason I'm bringing it up because now you're starting to see, not only with hockey, but with basketball too, you're going to start having more of these media days as they get ready for the season to start. You're going to get preseason rankings, and your Denver Nuggets are ranking as high as just about anyone else in the league other than maybe the Oklahoma City Thunder. You and Jake had a discussion last night about top 100 players in the league, and I think I find this pretty interesting. I was actually surprised when you told me that it was 6 players on the Denver Nuggets roster are in that top 100. Tell me who they are and where they rank.
Yeah, they had 6 up there, which is, more than as many starters as you can have, and there's 150 starters in the NBA. So that only points to the Nuggets, extra depth that they're going to have this season, which everyone's been banging the table for. We had Nikola Jokic come in. Actually, the top 10 was released today.
Okay.
So Jokic came in today at number 1. Pretty
no
clear,
surprise.
No surprise there. The number 2 player on the Nuggets, a little surprise here, Aaron Gordon came in at number 40. Number 3 player Jamal Murray came in at 46. Christian Brown came in at 62. Cam Johnson 67. And then another surprise here, Jonas Valanciunas, number 87.
There you go. Any of those wrong, in your opinion? Would you have changed the order of where they landed on that list? Or do you think maybe one of them maybe shouldn't be in there?
I would say I think Christian Brown's maybe a little high. I think Cam Johnson's going to have a bigger impact on this team than Christian Brown will. So I think Cam Johnson, come next year's list, will be higher on the list than Christian Brown. Jamal Murray at 46. He hasn't really proved it to me in the last 2 years here, so I like it at 46. Aaron Gordon had a phenomenal year so 40 might be a little low. I'd have to see who's, maybe right above him there to lift that up there. But I mean, it just goes to show that it's kind of Jokic and everybody else, but he's got a lot better of guys that he's, going to the playoffs with this year than what we've seen the last couple of years.
Listen, man, with what they were able to do in the offseason, I thought after the way that the team had looked over the past 2 seasons, and one blowing the Game 7 lead against Minnesota, and then coming back this following year and just kind of not being disciplined, the firing of Michael Malone late. I know you had a pretty decent run in the postseason. I know a lot of people are like, well, you took the champs to Game 7. Well, the Clippers also took you to Game 7 too. So it was up and down type of deal. I was thinking that window might be closing, where with the additions that this new front office has made, or what they did like in the first 72 hours of being named to those positions, dude, they're putting them right up with Oklahoma City as a favorite to win the title. I mean, it's not a super huge hot take to say I think the Nuggets are going to win the title this year. Like that's I mean, other than Oklahoma City, Boston's going to be down because they're going to be without Tatum for a while.
They lost some depth too. Drew Holiday's gone, and Al Horford's gone.
So I mean, think of other teams that can compete for a championship. I think Indy had a magical run. It was more of a Cinderella type run. I don't think that was like, even with Halliburton, I don't think they're that team. I think they were magical this past season. The Knicks get rid of Tom Thibodeau. Was it Mike Brown who's leading them now? It seems like they're going to just not be good enough to get there. And then what other teams are you going to throw in that discussion? A lot of people think Minnesota's done, that their window's closing. They didn't get better. The Lakers, I think, are going to be scary.
Yeah, Lakers should be good again. And there's talks that they're going to make the Lakers are in talks of a big trade as well for a potential center and Walker Kessler out of Utah. But I believe Utah wants Austin Reeves and some first-round draft picks in return there. So the Lakers, could have a big shakeup as well. But no, the Nuggets should be considered a top-tier NBA champion in terms of, teams to pick from. They're in Tier 1, and it might just be them and the Thunder in Tier 1.
I agree with you. And if the Broncos don't get it turned around, which I think they do, I think it starts on Monday, they get it turned around, start playing better. But if they don't, it gets ugly. At least we can rest on the idea that we have another championship contending team, actually 2 of them, because the Avalanche are right in that discussion in their prospective league as well. We are going to call it a night for Denver Sports Tonight. Dante Gomez, it was fun. Thank you, sir. It's Marcello Romano. You've been listening to Denver Sports Tonight on 104.3 The Fan.
Just a month into the NFL season, have the Broncos already found themselves on the outside looking in?
A lot of football left, but AFC West is gone. There's no chance that they can win the AFC West. Can you still make the playoffs? Can you still have a good season? Yeah, but you got to learn how to hit wide open receivers, and you got to learn how to close out games if you're the defense.
Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Catch a ride with Evie and Otto. Catch a ride.
I'm Evie.
And I'm Otto.
And we're fully charged.
Like triple espresso charged at Foundation Chevrolet.
Reminding you, federal rebates on new electric vehicles vanish September 30th.
Time's ticking, and these deals are shockingly good.
Foundation Chevy is here to stay.
But these EV rebates are driving off fast.
Together, let's drive during Chevy Truck Month. Visit FoundationChevrolet.com and see us in Wheat Ridge. Catch a ride.
Hey guys, boy Stink here today by my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your